right, so now what we need to do is we need to actually put some kind of struts on the bottom of here. So let's do that now. We've still got our cursor in the center. Let's just bring it in. We can join it together in a bit anyway. So let's press Shift A and bring in another cube. Let's press S, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down just so it's very close to the edges of this part here. And then I'm going to bring it out like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up a little bit, but I want to bring it both together. So I'm just going to press S and Z, bring it up a little bit like so. And then what I want to do now is I want to bring it in. So I'm going to come in, press Tab, make sure I'm on face select, grab this back face and bring it over here. Now at the moment, it's actually stuck on either side of there and I don't really want that. So I'm going to grab this face and grab this face with Shift Select. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press S and X and bring it in just so it's actually in there now, as you can see. Now, what I want to do now is I want to actually kind of bevel it off on here. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to come up to Edge Select or 2 on the actual keyboard, grab this edge, press Ctrl B, and then what that's going to do is it's going to enable me to actually pull it out like so. Now, the first thing you should do though, before actually beveling it off is you should always reset your transformations. So I'm going to press Tab, I'm going to press Ctrl A, come down to where it says all transformations, and then I'm going to actually reset that. Now, before I do that, I'm just going to show you why I'm going to do that. If I come in and I press Ctrl B and I bring that over, you can see that it's beveling in a really, really weird way. Now, on the left-hand side here, you can see that I can turn up my bevels as well. So I can turn up the segments, I can turn the shape up and things like that. But at the moment, Blender still thinks that this is a cube. So it doesn't realize that we've changed the shape of this. So when it comes to beveling it, you'll see that it bevels out weirdly. So again, if something's not beveling correctly, just go in, reset all your transforms with Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, and now give the bevel a try again. So if I press Ctrl B, you can see now it's beveling much better than it did before. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press Ctrl B and I'm going to pull it out, and now you can see that it's beveling off much, much nicer. Now what I want to do is I want to actually change the shape of it. So in other words, I want this to come further over there. Just going to put my shape on 1 because that makes no difference. What I'm going to change is the width. So you can see now that I can actually change that width over to something like over there. And then what I can do is I can actually bring in my segments. So if I come in and bring my segments up to, let's say 3, you'll see that we end up with something like this. Now, this is where you can actually change now the shape. So if I come in and bring this down, you can see now I can actually change the shape of this actual bevel. So we can have it something more like that. Now you'll see that at the moment, it doesn't look right. It's still looking a little bit flat and things like that. So what I really want to do is I want to grab it, pull it up, and then pull the bottom bit out. So I'm going to come in with L, pull it up like so, come to the underneath, press 3 or face select, grab this bottom face. I don't really want to extrude it or anything like that. All I want to do is just pull it down like so, because then we've still got that nice edge on there that we're actually looking for. All right, so that's looking pretty nice. Now, the one problem we've got is we need one on the other side. And of course, we need this on the other side as well. So we need to do that now. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to mirror this over to the other side. The other thing I want to make sure is that I'm happy with the thickness. I think this bottom part, let's have a look. Yeah, actually, it looks okay. I'm just making sure that I'm happy with the dimensions. I think this part on here needs to go all the way over to the next one. You can see here, these are kind of floating in the end, and we don't really want that. So if I grab just this part, so I'm going to come in, press the L button, press S and Y, pull it out like so, to near enough the halfway point on here, and that should be absolutely fine. Press the tab button, and now it just looks much better. I might actually even pull this out a little bit further. So S and Y, pull it out a little bit further. Yeah, and I think that looks just much better, much more support like so. All right, so now let's go back to our actual bevel. And what I want to do is I want to grab my bevel and I want to put it this side as well. A few ways of doing this. What I'm going to introduce you to is our first modifier. Now, at the moment, your cursor might be over here somewhere, and I'll show you why it's important where your cursor is. So first of all, we'll reset our transformations again. Always important that you do that. So all transforms, right click, set origin to geometry. And now let's bring in an actual mirror. So little spanner over here is your modifiers tab. Add modifier, come down, mirror, and you'll see nothing happens. And if we press the Y, you'll see it kind of rotates on itself. Now, that's not what we want. You will see, though, my cursor's over here. If I right click and set origin to 3D cursor, you will now end up with it mirrored over from where the origin is. So your origin decides on where it's going to be mirrored over. Now, if I take off the Y and the X and then just put the Y on, you'll see that it's mirrored over here, and we could move these across, but they're the wrong way around. We could rotate them around and things like that, but that's not really going to work properly. So the easiest way to do this is to come to our center part of this. So let's grab this, for instance. Let's make sure we're on face select, and let's grab this face, since this is basically where we want it over each side of the center of here. Now what I can do is I can press Shift S, cursor to selected, that puts my cursor right in the center, and now I can go back to this part here, and I can simply right click, set origin to 3D cursor, and now you'll see it's put it over the other side. And the reason is obviously that the origin of these now has been put in the center where the cursor is. So now you can see we've got these over the other side, and that's great. All right, so now we can hover over our mirror, and we need to apply this modifier. And there are a number of ways of doing that. And as we move on in the course, I'll show you different ways of actually doing it. But the way that we want to do it now is just click on the little down arrow and click apply. And there we go. We've applied our modifier and we've got our mirror there. Okay, so now what we want to do is we actually want to put our mirror over to this side. So what we want to do really is we want to grab the center of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my main table, press Ctrl A, all transforms, right click to origin to geometry. And again, I'm going to press Shift S, cursor to selected. Now let's come to these parts here, and you can see at the moment that these are two separate parts, so let's join them together. So I'm going to grab this one, shift select this one, press Ctrl J and join them together like so. Now once we've done that, we need to actually reset our transformations again, just so we don't have any problems. So Ctrl A, all transforms, right click, and this time we want to set the origin to our 3D cursor, since we're mirroring it over to the other side. Now we're going to come over again, add modifier, bring in a mirror, and there you go. You can see it's put over the other side. If yours not going right, just mess around with the X and Y, because it will be one of those. All right, just make sure you don't put them both on, because if you put them both on, you'll end up with actual parts that are over the top of each other and you just can't see them. So just make sure it's only one of them on. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to apply our mirror. Now you can do it another way. If you hover over your modifier, any modifier that is, press Ctrl A, you can actually apply it that way as well. Really good if you've got a load of modifiers, you want to apply them one after the other, just Ctrl A, Ctrl A. Okay, so now we need an actual support in our actual table. So let's press Shift A, and what we're going to do is bring in a cube, press the S button, I'm going to bring it down like so, and then I'm going to press S and X and pull it out. Now you can see that this is probably a little bit too thick, so I'm going to press S and Z, squish it down a little bit, something like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it a little bit more, different from the other parts. So I'm going to come in edit mode with tab, grab this bottom face, press S and Y and just pull it in a little bit like so. And then finally, I'm just going to pull it all out a little bit. S and X, pull it all out a little bit like so. All right, so now what we need is just one more support. So I'm going to come in, I think, and bring in one support just under here, a smaller support. So I'm going to press Shift A again, bring in a cube, S, pull it out. So S and X, just up to here. I don't actually want it going through the whole table. Bring it down so it just comes under there like so. And there we go. Absolutely perfect. Double tap the A, and there we go. So now what we want to do on the next one is we want to bring in some metal bars that are going to come across here to actually, hammer in these planks of wood and hold it all together. Again, we're going to go up to File, Save, and I'll see you on the next one, everyone. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.